So I go see her whenever I get a chance. But you know my schedule. I go to bed like at 7 in the morning. I work all night and I'll sleep during the day. And right when I went to bed at 7, because my mother was like, "Here's a comforter, baby. You go ahead and make yourself comfortable." And I woke up an hour later thinking the Terminator was coming through because on the roof I heard. It's like the fuck is going on with that? She had hail damage on the roof. And the roofers came at 8 o'clock to come and work on this.
I mean, if they was bugging you that much, all you had to do was go out there and yell, "La Migra, La Migra."
I didn't want to say anything, but that's what my mother said. She's like, "Those Mexicans do a good job, Corey."
Hey, they do.
Yeah, no, they do. I mean, no, for all the people complaining about immigration, all that kind of stuff, we love it when they're here. You know,
I love Mexicans.
Such a load of bullshit accusations against Mexicans because are they lazy or are they taking our jobs?
Right.
Because they're clearly not doing both.
No,
or they wouldn't be taking our jobs unless we're just that much lazier.
No, those are some hard-working motherfuckers, man. I mean that in the most respectful way. I mean, my hat's off to them because they worked their ass off, and so they were up there working on the roof. Yeah, it was a Mexican Terminator coming through the door. Hola,
Sericana.
But yeah, so I'm like, and then my mother had the nerve to laugh at me. She's like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. So you ain't sleeping right now, are you? And I was like,
me if you want to leave.
Come with me if you want to sleep. so yeah, but we're gonna read some email right. Oh shit, what is that?
Wait, what email?
That's email music. Oh, boy, fuck your thoughts. Yeah, jam right now, boy.
I'm so sick of that. Fuck your thoughts.
Tell me about it.
People come
Wait a minute, hold
on.
on. Let's I want them to hear clearly. Okay.
Man, people come on to the Leon forum and they show up with that fuck your thoughts. And my first reaction is, what? You know what? Hey, man, fuck you. Oh, that's what this is.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't hear the original episode where it came from, so I don't know the context. But people use it as if that's the trump card for an argument.
Yeah.
You could bring up hard data, anything, proof, and win your argument. And they go, well, you know what? Fuck your thoughts. See what? I won. And you're like, what the fuck is that shit?
See, that's so weird to me because nobody uses it like that with us ever. They just say, hey, here's the email for fuck your thoughts. Or here's an email. If you don't read it, then fuck your thoughts.
Because they know you'll savage them if you
But people actually use it like that with you, like, hey, man, well, if you think I'm wrong, then fuck your thoughts.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's great, man. I
it
love
makes me
that.
think of, I was dating a girl from Denmark, and I was talking to her about something. She's like, oh, fuck off. And I was like, what did you say to me? And it was like, I had to realize, oh, culturally, you guys just say fuck off like it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's very
we don't do that here.
It's like in England, they say cunt about everything.
Yes.
That's like calling somebody a dummy. It's like, you cunt. And it's like, what? You say that here, you're going to have a pack of rabid feminists going Wolverine crazy on your ass, man. Cannot say that word in America.
What word was that?
I don't know. Okay. The C word. It's the feminine version of the N word.
The see you next Tuesday.
Okay. All right. I got what word that is. I learned the hard way myself.
But anyway.
All right.
Email!
Here's an
I
email.
learned it from a British guy.
Here's an email from someone regarding Leon. Fuck your thoughts, Leon.
Fuck your thought, Leon. No, this is from Tommy. And Tommy says...
no, I'm not. I thought it was Timmy Cupcakes.
No, this is Tommy. Straight up Tommy. He says, what do you guys think of sketch movies? And when he says sketch movies, well, I'll read the email and it'll tell you what he means. I feel that some manage to keep the laughs running for the whole film, like Kentucky Fried Movie and Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. But the majority of them have a few hilarious moments, yet always seem to run out of steam eventually, like Amazon Women on the Moon. You know, that's funny because these days, do you even think you'll see a sketch movie anymore?
I can't even remember what the last one was before they stopped doing them.
What do you mean, like spoof movies?
Yeah, Kentucky Fried Movie is a perfect example.
Where it's
Groove Tube.
But you know what? Did you watch Disaster Movie? The only difference between a sketch movie and a disaster film type thing, because believe me, there's no plot continuity there at all, is that they don't actually flat out have points where they fade to black and go to the next thing. Because that's just a totally disconnected series of bad sketch ideas that are strung together by a loose concept.
Well, yeah, I mean, in a sketch movie, they have like sketches that are self-contained.
There was one, oh God, what the hell was the name of it? It was
Well, that
Extreme movie was a sketch movie.
Was it
Where there
really?
was totally really no continuity. It was all completely disconnected.
Yeah, because something like disaster movie tries to thread, even something stupid
yeah,
as
that's-
that, they try to
that's a
thread a
parody
plot
movie.
through there.
Yeah, but it's not really a plot. It's like, okay.
But they keep using the same characters throughout
Yeah.
the same thing. I mean, this is actually a sketch comedy movie where they do
Extreme
these
Well,
things.
what
movie was
about
a
Brain
sketch.
Candy? Because
No, that was-
No, that was one long story.
Was
yeah,
it? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
No,
I-
Extreme movie was just came out, and that's one of those, and it's terrible. Don't see it, but yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, I think sketch movie was one of those things where they could sketch movies. It came out in a period where they could experiment with that, and it's something that's just not going to catch on anytime soon.
Even those films, I don't think did very well in the theater. They were more
Probably
like cult
not.
after the fact on DVD, which would be why we're not seeing a lot
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah,
really,
that's true.
I mean, people want a running thread, or they get bored. That's more
yeah.
suited towards television.
I guess the thing you get the closest to with that is the comedy concert movie, something like Spicorama with John Leguizamo or something where they plays
Does
different
he do
characters.
different sketches in
He
that?
does different characters. Yeah, he's on stage and he does different characters where there are different sketches.
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
so
God, what was the first? He had a character everybody said when they did the first one with John Leguizamo. I can't remember what they used to call him. Something Mouth.
Mambo Mouth.
Yeah, Mambo Mouth. Exactly.
yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg did early in her career, things
Right,
like that.
right. Before she got, quote unquote,
Before
discovered.
she became Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Exactly. When she was a Broadway actress. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to see any more movies like that. I think that time is done. That's what television
Well,
is
yeah, we
for.
got sketch comedy shows, although they did just cancel Mad TV finally.
Really? That was still on the air?
Yeah.
It's a Mad. More like Who Gives a Shit TV.
Yeah, no, they did finally end that. But yeah, no, you're right. Sketch movies. I mean, you have this thing now called cable, which we get
Yeah,
things.
you got
that-
Comedy Central now.
Yeah,
So there's no reason for that.
You don't need to go to a movie theater to see that. So let's see
Tommy,
here.
can you hear us? That's what we're saying.
Hear me? Okay, let's see. This is from you.
From me, I didn't send email to your crappy show.
Fuck you. Fuck your thoughts. And it does say a question for Let's Do This and fuck your thoughts. If you're smart, you will read this.
Okay.
Threats.
Here's the let's see.
Well, you
Next
wouldn't want
question.
anyone. He gets all upset when people accuse him of not being smart, so we're obviously going to read this.
Let's see. He says, name a.
Assuming he can.
Okay, this is one of these questions.
made no
See,
goddamn sense.
Yeah, I'll read you the question, and then we'll make fun of it
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
answer. I'll read the question to
Now,
you.
who's it from?
It's from you. That's his name. From you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And it says,
that's where I got confused.
here's the question. Now, y'all gonna don't kill me. I'm just a messenger. Name a point in your life you wish it could have gone differently. Fuck birth, motherfucker. That's what.
This question?
Yeah. Nice. Cyrus for the win.
Yeah. Man, that's such a general ass question. Come on, man. Get with the fucking program. You know better than that. You've been listening to this shit at all. You know these questions get made fun of. Have something specific. All right.
I just wanted to get on the air.
All right. Here's
Read
one
his
from
name, he won.
here's one from
Now you're smart.
Irvin. And this is kind of I can already tell this is kind of a question that will bring up some discussion here. The milk about to be eaten by the goat. A question about pretentiousness in film. How can you tell if a film is pretentious? Or how do you define pretentiousness in film? Here's what he thinks. He says, personally, I think the word pretentious is tossed around way too easily by people to dismiss films, usually art house fare. They didn't understand or comprehend. But for me, I define it as being a film that tries way too hard to be different, artsy, even when the story doesn't really require it, or trying to convey an important message in itself. And put like this email right here. Like,
Here's the problem.
go
I have
ahead.
I have a big-
No, I thought this would be a
I've
good
thought about
question.
this a lot, and
Okay.
to be honest, I don't think it's a word that means anything. It's like saying, yeah, I thought that film was funny. One guy does. The other guy thinks it was fucking lame and not funny at all. It is one of the most subjective terms, and it's applied usually to stuff where people either don't understand it or just don't get it. It doesn't speak to them. I mean, I can go look at a painting that I go, what in the fuck do people think that this is art for? I think it's terrible. I think that's pretentious. Somebody else might get the fucking chills looking at that thing. I don't know what that is. Do you know what it is? I don't. You can use the word pretentious all you want, but all it does is make me think you're kind of a jackass for using it. That's just my opinion.
Do you have
about it.
anything to add?
It's so funny this would get brought up because I had somebody recently write me about like some of the films I have listed in my worst of list. He picked 4 of the films and said, "What is it you hate about these films?" And I was like, dude, I am not going to give you a list of the things I hate about these films. Take my time out to do this only so you can write me back and go like, well, you're wrong and you're wrong and you're wrong. I got better shit to do. All right, fair enough. You found a way to get around my argument. Have a nice day. And I was like, okay, fine. This is what I hate about these movies. And one of them was Waking Life. So having this so freshly in my mind, to me, this is a pretentious movie in the fact that it's full of indie hipsters all espousing about, they're going on about philosophy. They're droning on. It has the idea that what they're saying, everybody who makes this film, who talks, has the idea that what they're saying is something profound that everybody wants to listen to. When in fact, all they're doing is regurgitating everything you learn in the Philosophy 101 class. They aren't really processing it. They aren't adding anything new to it. They aren't looking at like how this applies to life. They're just going like, well, Nietzsche said this and Sartre said this. And it goes on and on with no narrative, without any kind of like building from one thing to the next. So it's not even like really audience friendly, except for people who are that kind of hipster,
right,
to use the word again, pretentious generation who would watch this and feel like, oh, I get this where other people don't because I'm smarter than everybody else.
I hated that movie too.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't think I could throw that term in.
Well, no,
I thought it was
yeah.
trying to speak to a very certain crowd that do like that sort of thing. It's trying to speak to that 20 to 25-year-old who've just discovered all the shit and are amazed that anyone else are even discussing it.
Yeah, see, I agree with him. That's the kind of movie where, let me say this. The word pretentious could probably be applied more to people with more definity than a movie, because where you say Waking Life is something where it speaks to these people and you don't understand and you think it's being phony, somebody else is going to come along and say, well, this is what I think, and because they think this, it's their opinion, and that word holds no weight. But however, you've been around some people where you can tell that this is not their personality, this is not who they are, and not only are they pretending, you can tell, but they are getting things wrong, and you can definitely look at people and say, this motherfucker's being pretentious. And everybody will say, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you feel when we saw the movie Topsy Turvy?
I never actually sat through that.
Again,
Well, Corey and I saw it with people who clearly, probably did a dissertation on Gilbert and Sullivan.
No,
who laughed
yeah.
extra hard at the jokes in there.
now, again, that's about the people, not so much the
Yeah.
movie itself, because Topsy Turvy, I think,
true,
was being...
true. You're absolutely right.
No, Topsy Turvy was a movie where I think it was made by people who sincerely
Yeah.
loved the subject that they were talking about.
I like Gilbert and Sullivan.
Yeah,
I
no,
haven't
that's
seen
what to say. That's a movie
But-
about Gilbert and Sullivan,
But
and
I
those
don't
people...
think there's anything wrong with making niche movies. That doesn't make it pretentious.
Well, the people
It's just not made for you.
Well, here's the deal: in the movie theater, not the movie itself, you could tell these people knew a lot about Gilbert and Sullivan, and they wanted to talk about it and whatnot, the Pirates of Penzance and all them. And then when you have the people in the audience who, okay, it's a chuckle. I don't care what you say. It's not anything that's a guffaw. And when those people want to let you know that they get it, and they're like, ah, ha, 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 and the same thing at a Shakespeare movie. Shakespeare's dry. I'm sorry, it is not
never
roll over
laughed
laughter.
out loud at a
No,
Shakespeare.
and when they say a line of Shakespeare, and somebody in the audience is going like, ah, ha, ha, they are not laughing because it is that funny. They're laughing to say, I get this, and maybe you don't because you're not laughing as hard. And those people are pretentious, not the movie
I
itself.
think you're right. I don't think art can be pretentious, but people can.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'll accept that.
Hey, Corey.
Yes.
Another perfect example is the ending of No Country for Old Men, or the people who say they understand the ending, and they come tell you all about it.
Oh, you and I,
You mean the lack of an ending.
No, you and I have had this argument. I mean, not you and I, but we've been around
People
Yes.
who've done the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
So have I.
No, somebody will come up, and here's the pretentiousness in that person. Now, it's not so much the movie itself, because if they come in and say, "Hey, look, man, this is what I got out of the movie," I mean, what can you do? You can't argue with that. But then people come up and they say, "You know something? You really don't understand
You
because
just
you
wanted a Hollywood shootout."
Well, that's what people say, and not only in that, but they say, "Well, you see, without knowing you, they say, well, you are the kind of person that you like mainstream big budget movies, and you don't want to be." See, I'm not the kind of person to talk shit about myself at a party or anything, but it's at that moment I'm like, Hey, motherfucker, do you know what I do for a living? Let me tell you. And not only that, but High and I, we argued this motherfucker down one night. He was on the floor almost at the end of it, just kind of like, okay, man, you got me.
I was right. I'm right there with you guys on this one. You know we are. We did a big review on this. We've answered questions about it a billion times. Every time we bring it up, hell, we're going to get 80 questions on our pages because of this. I watched and reviewed that Blu-ray DVD with like 5 hours of fucking extras on it.
Wow.
Didn't tell me anything I didn't already know as far as what they were trying to say with that film. And I still go, you know what? I understand completely what they were trying to say, but it was bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
You can't set up a narrative like that and then yank the rug out and go, aha!
But see, like I told him,
like I do the same accusation in the movie Funny Games.
I
It's the
just
same fucking thing.
I just had a talk the other night with somebody about No Country for Old Men, and I could not argue with them because they said, for me, and from that moment on, it's kind of like, okay, you're not speaking for me, and they were saying, that movie to me was something where it worked out like life. At one moment, it could seem like things are working out like a movie, and for the next moment, real life comes in, and it's just kind of normal or bland. And what can I say to that?
You just said it. For 1 minute, it seems it was like a movie. That's because the whole thing was like a movie. It was tense and dramatic and was setting you up to a conclusion. We just needed a conclusion and to make a point of like, well, you know what? Life doesn't always happen that way.
Now,
it does that in a sort of sense of going to the audience, pointing its finger, going, how dare you expect this to have a conclusion after us spending 2 hours
but you see,
telling you a really incredible dramatic story.
Now, what if I come in and I say, but all right, that's you, but for me, I really got a fulfilling experience out of it. What could you do?
I would say you're a pretentious douchebag. And I'm not gonna talk to
See,
you
that's what I'm
anymore.
saying. That's all subjective, you know?
You know what? Hey, that's your thing then.
No, it would be like I got something different out of it. Now, if I just said, hey, man, I understand your point of view. I'm being very fair. Like, hey, man, I understand that. It's just, I didn't see it that way, but I respect you. Now, if I came up to you and said, well, Cyrus, you know what? You just kind of dumb.
No, when someone throws that shit like, oh, you're a dumbass because you don't understand this, then that is, I think, the very definition of potential.
I'm very fair with people, man. I
agree with you.
don't attack people on their opinions. I attack people when they attack me through saying
you guys didn't understand Soul Plane like I understood Soul Plane.
The subtext.
Okay, maybe that's one where I've tried to argue that with so many people, and I won't even get into that because I'm going to do is get mad.
Yo, that kills me when somebody's like, why don't you like Soul Plane? That movie's funny. I'm like, don't even get me started on this.
No, that is one of those.
Because I got other shit I need to do today.
And let's be clear. I can say I think a movie is completely fucking stupid and retarded and its jokes aren't funny. And that's not the same thing as me calling someone who says, hey, I like that movie, is me turning around going, well, you're stupid, dumb, and retarded.
Sure.
For all I know, you have your own very specific sense of humor that deviates entirely from mine, that you find that really funny. You were brought up in an environment where your dad used to fart on your head. I don't know. Right. But, what are you going to do? You find funny what you do. For me, it was dumb, fucking retarded, stupid humor.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that's you. Unless you like Soul Plane, in which you are. I mean, it's not just a movie. You yourself are dumb.
I mean, I heard about the Cannes Film Festival. Now, I'm going to close this discussion off real quick so we can go to another email. But you guys, you'll see what I'm talking about. I heard about one of the winners at the festival, and one of the movies that won was a movie where I think it's a Korean film. It's about these guys who kidnap a hooker, sexually abuse her, and then dismember her at the end of the movie. And that's what the movie is. Now I'm thinking that's pretentious to me because that's somebody who's really just trying to get a reaction. They're not really trying to do anything.
If someone described a movie like Old Boy to you from the outside with just the minimum of facts, you could react in that same way, but that would be ridiculous.
No, this movie is what I just said. That's the big deal about it. No, that's what I heard. See it? Listen to me. No, there were people who said that is the big thing about this movie at Cannes, that this is what the movie is. Like the way you describe it, that's what it is. Now, I didn't see it, but people are saying this movie is just that, and it's trying to get a reaction out of you. Now, the person who's a juror at Cannes is like, she's this woman who loves movies that gets a reaction through extreme things like sex and violence. So this movie won this, and now you got all these arguments from people who are defending it and people who are against it. So you can see how even something like one person considers to be pretentious still succeeds on a certain level.
I can't judge it till I've seen it. Like I said, I can't agree with you at all until I see it.
Well, I haven't seen it either, so I'm not agreeing with this. But
Irreversible, I was like, I don't want to see that fucking movie. And then someone else was like, another friend of Mark Savlov, I believe it was, another critic, like, no, dude, you have to see this movie. I know it sounds just like some exploitation film, but you have to see it.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, right. I'm not judging the movie itself. I'm just saying that this is a movie that has divided people. One saying this movie the pretentious side, and this movie is like, oh, I can explain this to you.
Sam Peckinpah's Straw Dogs had the same reaction when that came out in theaters. Critics were totally divided. Is this just exploitation for the sake of exploitation? Is this just hateful, or does it actually have a point? Now, at the time, that was really shocking. Now we can look at it a little separated and go, you know what, this is a really fucking good movie.
Yeah.
And it has a lot to say. But, you know, shock value can really divide audiences in that way.
Okay, let's see. Here's a good question here. What are some of the worst films that you've seen that you could over and over watch again because of its sheer awfulness or unintentional hilarity? This guy says, oh, and this is from Rabbit Scotsman. He says, my top one is Batman and Robin. Allow me to cut the ice, Mr.
Dude,
Freeze.
I cannot. I can't watch any more than 15 minutes of that movie. And I
It's just
try.
It's just the puns. You're like, you know what? If the puns were gone, I probably could watch it and laugh at it for being bad. But the puns are too painful. They cut too.
There was just way too much money spent on that movie.
Well, is there any movie that you
sure.
can think of?
Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
See,
Okay.
That's one of those movies. Yeah, it's a B movie, but I don't think it's awful. I think it knew exactly what it wanted to be. If they were trying
awful.
to make a movie that was really genuinely good and came up with that, then I'd agree with you. But they weren't. They were going for a B film, and I think it works great on that level.
Yeah, but except there's so many parts of it that are beyond B. They're more like Z. Just some like some of the voiceover and the narration.
But it's funny how giant naked boobies on hot chicks waving around.
That is the
continuously-
thing that pulls me back into
I
watching it
wonder
all
why
over
you keep
again.
watching it. Yeah, you're not allowed to bring that up at his funeral, by the way. I'm kind of a Pootie Tang guy myself for my movie. That I still think that's a horrible movie.
You took mine.
Oh,
actually.
really? Okay.
Yeah,
I just think it's terrible,
yeah.
but I can't stop watching it. If it's
Well,
not.
actually, you know what? I can go for another one. One of my favorite movies of all time is, and I mean, I love this movie. I watch this movie more than any other movie, and it is
Human Tornado?
Human Tornado. It's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
It is like, and this guy made it thinking he was making some serious shit.
Yeah.
Rudy Ray Moore.
That is one. That's one of the top ones.
But it is so funny. That is like, and the Disco Godfather.
Well, Disco Godfather, it really doesn't really go into high gear to the last 15 minutes. Like, you can watch the beginning. All the rest of the stuff is bad. It gets a little boring at times. But you have to tell people, like, just hang in there for the last 15 minutes, no matter what you do.
But you're right. I mean, but there's some.
Well, shit. I mean, we're going this way. Story of Ricky.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a
But
bad
that's
movie,
one
but
of those like so excessive that you watch it because it's excessive.
Yeah.
That's excessiveness wins because you're like, I can't believe they just fucking did that.
Oh, you know what? One of my favorite movies is one that's notorious and no one likes it except for me, I think, is Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles.
I've never actually seen that.
I've never been able to get through it.
Really, I love Magical Mystery Tour, man. I don't know why.
It wasn't available on videotape at all when I was still doing LSD and psychedelic drugs, so I never saw it. And now I don't want to. 'Cause
Yeah.
everyone's like, that's the only way you want to see that movie. There's no. It's
Yeah.
not like Pink Floyd's The Wall. Well, yeah, you'll probably enjoy it more on LSD, but it's still a decent enough movie. No, Magical Mystery Tour is well acknowledged as only being
See, that is the
comprehensible
movie for
on
me.
psychedelic
Like, I
drugs.
know no one else likes it, and I'll be the guy that says, you know what? I have to say that I like it. I for some reason I enjoy it.
You know, it's
trippy, man. It's
I
just-
might actually like it because I like everything, or as I call them, kitchen sink movies, which I would even describe Night at the Museum too. That's why I kind of liked it because it's just like they just keep throwing shit till it's ridiculous, and you're like, okay, I'm sitting here enjoying this, just seeing what they're gonna do, stupid shit they're gonna pull next. There's a movie called Waxworks that's like that. Waxworks and Waxworks.
Waxworks 2 is
Yeah,
worse.
Waxworks 2 is even worse, but
Yeah.
they're hysterical, dude. You're just like, this is the dumbest shit ever, but it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I got, man, you know something? I have a collection of movies, of DVDs back there, because Carlisle was always making fun of me. He's like, you love shitty movies. I'm like, yeah, you know, I do. So I probably have a lot. Hey, here's a good question right here. Brandon McShawn says, which movies do you think are the greatest of all time? Well, I'm sorry, which movie series do you think are the greatest of all time? And that means with all the movies and all that series being good. If you can't think of any, I have one, but you guys go ahead if you can.
Well, I mean, is that insinuating one that every movie in the series managed to be good, or at least, you know?
And I guess that's considered to be for you. Like if you like every movie in that series, then it's probably the best series of all for you.
I mean, I couldn't honestly say. I mean, obviously the first 3 Star Wars films are I can still watch.
And he says Star Wars doesn't count because it got
that
prequels.
series. They didn't count his other 3 too.
Yeah,
I know,
he says that right there.
Almost totally negate how good the first ones are.
I'll go ahead and say I think the movies that have been they started out okay and they've risen and maintained a certain level of quality.
Friday the 13th.
Yes, both. Freddy Krueger's, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter
No,
is
that
great.
that was going to be mine. Harry Potter. The Harry Potter series
They've
has
just
been
gotten better.
Yeah, they've been, and they even reached a point where you could say this one's better than that, but they're at a certain level of quality that they've maintained, and I think that's the best. And come on, man, we're talking about how many movies now? High
6.
six movies.
2
Yeah,
more to go.
we're talking about 6 movies that have been consistently of some good quality.
That's true. I guess if I had to answer, because you got to go with low numbers, I would go with Mad Max. And I'm not crazy about the third one, but I don't think it's a bad
No,
movie.
it's still a good movie.
It's cool.
It's
Man,
just
that was the
after-
most quoted, I think.
After
the third
Road-
one.
Okay.
After Road Warrior, it's
Yeah.
kind of a letdown in that it
Right.
just- it
Because
brings
Road
a bunch
Warrior
of
is just so good.
Well, yeah, Road Warrior is so amazing, and then this slows down a lot. It
Yeah.
brings a whole ton
It brings
of
the
little
kids
into
in.
it,
Yeah.
but it's still not a bad movie.
Right,
It's
right.
just a disappointment by comparison.
Right.
Yeah. Although it's funny rewatching Mad Max, I'm like, you know what? This feels like it's not even part of the series. It feels like a totally different movie.
Well, I mean-
and it's good as kind of a drier drama.
I don't know if
thing.
anybody's if you buy Mad Max that has like the Max pop-up facts, which I would recommend highly,
Yeah.
because also if you read about it, it was shot almost as an afterthought, because it was like supposed to be. It was they were making a documentary about cars in Australia, and they were like, "Wow, we got all these cars here, and we got this kid Mel Gibson and all these other people." You know what? Let's just make a real movie. Let's just write a story to go with it.
Yeah.
So it just came together that way.
Right now, Toy Story is starting to look like. I mean, hell, if this third one ends up being
that's
good,
true.
this will be one of my favorite series ever.
Oh,
No,
no
it's
shit.
when you said series, I'm counting more than 2, but Toy Story and Toy Story 2, when we say what is a perfect movie and
Toy
a
Story
perfect
2
sequel,
to me, somebody said perfect movie, my first answer is Toy Story 2.
some of the best movies with 1s and 2s in them are like Toy Story, Aliens, and Alien, and Terminator. You know what I mean? Those are movies
Terminator
with.
has that one annoying bit that the Cyrus edit would just get rid of. That whole "I now know why you cry." Even when I was a kid, ruined that ending for me.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, man, that whole movie was so awesome, and then you had to come back to that thing
fuck
earlier.
it up.
Why do you cry? Where Schwarzenegger tried to emote. You're a Terminator. Fucking stop it.
All right, I got one more question here from Sam S. Question for the goats who eat their own milk. Eat this, bitch, he says.
Wow, such nice fans.
I know. We get this all the time. Answer the fucking question, I'll kick your ass. Let's see. He says,
Is that what it says?
No, we've gotten those kind of emails.
Jesus.
The people just love getting attention. This guy says, as much as I can't stand Brett Ratner's fat ass and couldn't be more pissed off that he's directing Beverly Hills Cop 4, I do love Rush Hour. He says, "What is?" Howard's back there. And I looked up, and Howard was looking right at me. Just he said, expression on his face. I was like, "You motherfucker!"
Rush Hour is his that's the thing you don't put button you don't want to push.
He says,
Niagara Falls.
Step by step. He says, "What are some movies you really enjoyed, made by directors that you aren't crazy about, or really just don't like at all?" Well, if you want to speak about Brett Ratner, I did like Red Dragon, and Mac G is somebody who I couldn't stand just because of the name. I don't like the Charlie's Angels movies at all, but I did like Terminator Salvation.
You kept saying during the review, he's a good director. I'm like, really? Where? Because every movie he's ever made is shit, and this is mediocre.
I think he found, this is a guy, this is his latest project, and I think he found his calling with this. I think, like Leon said in that review, he's an action director.
Yeah, I can't agree. I think he's just a bad director. Sorry. I hand it to the guys who were in the computer room building those special effects. They did a good job. But even the concepts of the action scenes, with the exception of the robot with motorcycles for legs, was just nothing new. Nothing I hadn't seen before. It's like, okay, it's all right, but it's not.
This isn't about going against me. This is about what is a director.
Why you can't let the man answer without trying to undercut it?
I'm
Exactly.
sorry. I'm still just
Jesus,
mad about
man.
Terminator. That's all. I apologize. You're absolutely right, Corey. I apologize.
I'm fucking with you, man.
You're a man of quality. You know that?
Okay, now no need for that goddamn sarcasm
When
over
you
there.
choose a wine, you choose a fine wine. Like
Choose
Night Train.
I'm gonna choose an empty beer bottle and throw this shit at you. What do you? No, do you have one?
Wait, what was the question? Oh, yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm not a big Joel Schumacher fan, but I think Tigerland is a really astonishingly great film.
Wow,
which
we
was
just
his
brought him up
first
the other
big,
night.
Big film.
Wow.
What?
Because you almost stole my answer.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
you're picking one of his others. I know what the
Yeah.
other one is.
I know
but-
which one
but
of
go
it is for
ahead.
you.
Yeah.
Falling Down.
Falling Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is one of the maybe his only other film I really like that much.
Lost Boys. You know you like Lost Boys
is one of those
when
it
it came out. You loved it.
And then you
don't
watch
don't
it
lie.
now, and you're like, wow.
Well, it's just so cheesy. It's such a product of its time.
Yeah.
That's the
But
problem.
that's,
with it.
most of his films are dated in that
True.
fashion, and that's one of the problems with him as a director. The only other answer for me would have been Tim Burton, but honestly, there's probably about 4 of his films.
Yeah, that's
Well,
yeah.
the one thing I can't say, like, yeah, my answer was Falling Down from Joel Schumacher. But I remember back when, you guys will know which year this was, but there was this guy who's popping up on every talk show, and they were like, yeah, he's got a new movie, and we're going to talk to this guy. And he would ramble on and talk about how awesome he was. And it was fucking Quentin Tarantino talking about his new movie, Pulp Fiction. And I couldn't stand that motherfucker just looking at him on talk shows. I'm like, I can't wait to see his movie so I can hate it. And it's probably my second favorite movie of all time.
Yeah. That being said, you're not a big fan of the rest of his movies.
Yeah, the rest
like
of them.
Reservoir Dogs, though.
I like, I like Reservoir Dogs. And the rest of them, I'm kind of like, about.
All right,
Yeah,
next
yeah.
question.
Well, that's it, man.
That's it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's it. Yeah, we got
There's no more questions?
Yeah.
No,
there's
we're
usually when y'all do a Let's Do This, the sun is coming up. When
I was
y'all
going to say.
I told you,
I think
yeah.
y'all are
we-
still recording the last one.
No,
right now
exactly.
on some parallel-
Well, there's a vortex going on that you're trapped in and you can't get out. No, we're done, man. See, these things go fast. You make fun of us like, shit, man. You know, how can y'all go so long? Now, you see how we sit up here and just bullshit. When you bullshit, man, time flies. You don't know.
That's
so,
true. Yeah.
Cyrus is looking at me like, no, it doesn't.
I'm looking into that vortex at the end of Ghostbusters right now that you're talking about.
That door,
Co-host
man.
is sitting at the edge of it going, there is no Corey, only Zoom.
And when you mix alcohol and bullshit, time does seem to go through a warp.
We did that tonight, and
Especially if
that's
there's a
it.
possibility of getting laid. You notice how that works?
Wait a minute,
You'll hang
what?
out all night at the lame
that is
party.
true.
Oh, were you at somewhere? Yeah,
You'll
you
hang
just
out all night hanging out talking to people you don't even like. If there's
You're like a
chance.
hunter in a deer blind.
yeah, but ain't nothing worse when you about to cross into that dimension and that door shuts on your ass. It's like shit. But that's it, y'all. I mean, okay, people, that's it. Thank you guys for showing up, even though you've never invited me on to your Leog shit.
We did.
We did.
Remember,
Hey,
it was
we
the
had
Lost
you,
episode.
Yeah, the greatest episode of all time.
Yeah,
They
the
got
Halloween
lost by
episode. They got
Cyrus's idiot friend.
Oh, that's right. That was that one.
Yeah, sorry. We did have you in there.
Y'all owe
and
me.
you actually were there for the last one, but you just disappeared. You
I know, man. What happened? You came in, you
off.
said hi. You said, I'm going to go work back here. And I was like, I never saw him again.
I disappeared. Yeah, no. What happened was I showed up and you guys were just getting started. I thought you might have been kind of finishing. And so, and look, to be honest, I said it'll be good to go over there and talk to the guys when they're done and use your internet because I didn't have an internet. And I said, I'll go there and get some work done and then I'll hang out. But you guys were still like recording. So I said, you know what? I don't want to interrupt their session. So I'm just going to sneak out the back while they're recording.
We were all like, he came in. We're like, Corey! And then he's gone. So it's not like we were like, oh, fuck.
Hey man, you know, like what was I gonna do? Just interrupt your recording? Oh, okay, I'm gone. You know, y'all would have been like, get the fuck out of here. So
Everybody else does.
yeah, so I've learned. So
we
anyway,
did this.
yeah, you did this and you
did this.
survived.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you were true bullshitters, professionals.
Right now,
And we
Leon's,
will live to bullshit another day.
day. Let me
Leon's
get
sitting in a pool of his own sweat that's slowly creeping towards me.
here. Let me
Happy birthday.
let me pin these shit medals on you right here since you survived this.
Yes, I can hardly wait to get home and pet me some goatsy.
Hi, wake up. So that's it, y'all. So next week, maybe things will be back to normal. We'll just be coming back from out of town. Yes, people, if you're listening to this, the London Spill Party is going on next week. That's going to be on Saturday the 30th. If you're in London and you're hanging out, come on and hang out with us. Go on to Nick Hodges' profile page. You'll have all the details on there. Co-host and I will be there. But if you can't make it, well, then listen to us next week when we're back. So thank you, punk asses.
This Friday, they expect a new all-out drunken Leog.
Oh, there you go.
And Corey is auditioning for a new ship for his port in London. So, any girls there?
Please, yes. I'm bringing my couch with me so I can cast you on it. So that's it, y'all. So thank you for showing up. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
Where's
Joe.
my money?
Off your ass.
Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper!